Alright, here I am again. Yeah, unfortunately the modern mystic is sort of bailing on the conversation. It wasn't a very good conversation anyway, I have to concede. Kind of, I don't know, sloppy. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to continue it on my own, and we'll see if somebody else wants to talk about this hard problem of consciousness. Yeah, because I mean, there's certain premises I'll start with. Is that, yeah, the brain is just a bunch of reflexes, a ton of them, all kinds of little subroutines. Every word, I've sort of said it, is basically a reflex, a subroutine. Except words we don't know, then we have to call subroutines that define the word, the concept, or the words we're not very familiar with. But yeah, basically the brain is a bunch of learned performance programs, let's call them, that perform certain functions, both input and output. Mostly on the output side, I'd say, in terms of learned. Like we hear a sentence, our brain reacts because it recognizes the pattern, and it has a whole collection of thought program that's attached to that. That it runs. And you can sort of see the timing issue involved. Some things come very quick. Some things you can see your brain has to take a while before it can make it coherent. And keeping everything arranged in there. It's like I have a group of thoughts that I've run through in my head that I want to get to in this video. And the question will be, can my brain maintain that structure and talk and walk at the same time? And the odds are pretty low. So anyway, so we start off with this reflexive thing. And then we can even say that consciousness, having this sense of whatever this is, this awareness thing, this eyes wide open thing, this I am a feeling entity, that's all an illusion. I mean, it's, as Einstein would say about time, it's one hell of an illusion. But let's say it's an illusion. It's something that's generated by our brain. It's a movie. It's playing. The consciousness, the movie. That's what's running in our head. And it is breakable, fragile. There's a whole bunch of functions in our body that are taking place every minute we're alive. That are controlled by neurology. There are neurons doing the controlling, and we don't consciously experience any of it. It never enters this conscious movie screen plane of our perception. Combining, making sentences, doing all the work the brain does in the subconscious. None of that is in the conscious. So there's all kinds of neurology that takes place, all kind of flagellum, mouth to flagellum kind of stimulus to reaction kind of behaviors taking place, activities taking place in our brain that don't arise to consciousness. Yeah, there's times when we're asleep, like I said, our body's functioning normally, we're not aware of it. So let's see how else to go with this. So yeah, I think consciousness is this sense of, awareness, embodiment, whatever the people use these words. I don't really like much. Anyway, you need certain hardware, and it needs to be on. So you need a screen, a projector. I've used that analogy before. And it's got to have a good light bulb and all that kind of crap, or there ain't going to be any movie. Now, to get to what the movie's projecting. Yeah, so we're back to the sensation thing, the feeling thing, the attractive, repulsive, pleasant, unpleasant. Maybe I keep them really simple. So you have two kinds of feelings, pleasant and unpleasant, and maybe some neutrals. And we have two kinds of desire mechanisms, or motivators of attraction and repulsion. Desire and maybe fear, or aversion, made up of some other kind of unsettling sensation. So yeah, let's start off there. See, I can't see much argument on that premise. You know, where it gets dicey is, you know, what, yeah, there's no way to go. There's just no way to do this. You know, okay, but I want to use the feedback thing again, just as an example of a mechanism that might provide an explanation of some kind. So for me, the feedback thing is obvious. Obviously, we throw stuff out into the world, we see ourselves throw it, so to speak, and it comes back into our brain. And so there's a controlled feedback there. But as with a microphone that gets too close to the output speaker, and you get that negative feedback, which is that infinite feedback. And it just creates this horrible, obnoxious sound. And you can do it with video too, where, you know, you play the input into the output and you get a strobing attempt to do the affinity thing, and it can't do affinity, and so it goes all kind of wacky. And so maybe that's the mechanism that provides for this ability to create an unhappiness, a negative sensation in the hardware. Because I'm trying to think of how you would do this mechanically in a computer. How would you synthesize the feeling of nausea or something? I mean, how do you do that in a computer? How do you make it feel something nasty and unpleasant and performance degrading? Yeah, but feel it. You know, not just something that says, you will now just reduce power to 60%. I mean, that's the only way we can do it now, is we just basically order it to reduce its performance. But we don't order it, we don't cause the broken performance through some narrowing. And we can't just like limit it as electricity or something, or do something else, because it wouldn't be the same as a feeling. It would just be a breaking of the structure. It'd be like choking the blood off or something. We're not going to feel that. We're just going to have the symptoms of it. And a computer's symptoms aren't going to be a feeling like we have. So it's hard. That's where it sort of breaks down, using the other mechanical thinking machines as a exemplar, or as a sample of, or as a replacement for consciousness. It's really hard to imagine. So anyway, so what if you did just this crude way? What if you create a computer that creates a screen, a projection, you know, and then it has a camera and it sees its own projection. And so it's not only feeding the image of the whole world, but it's also feeding in the image of the screen into that projection and overlaying them in some way. So now we have something to play with. But again, how do we create this little, you know, this capacity to say ouch? How do we cut its finger? How do we poke it with a stick? We have to create a sensitivity somehow. And yeah, I haven't worked that one out yet. How do you do that? That's fucked up. No. So anyway, that feedbacky thing though might be part of that. Because maybe if you let the camera feed back and try to do that infinity thing, maybe that would be obnoxious to the computer. I don't know. That's really pushing it. But let's say there is a core. There is some basic thing that is like even static electricity, even just electricity. Maybe electricity has inherently built within it a material antagonism. That's an ugly, look at that pink mushrooms, chasing pink mushrooms. That's what the world's doing. It's kind of spooky. That was pink in, oh yeah, Pyro did a video, had a pink towel. Ooh. Yeah, pink book. Ooh. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so synthesizing it with this, yeah, so electricity just being the core noise maker, the antagonizer, the generator of, you know, and that we just, you know, what our brain does is magnify that like gravity, like where, you know, the gravity of something is kind of magnified by coalescing. When matter coalesces together, it's almost like you know, you put all this neural energy together, you put enough electricity through something, and it'll create this thing called you know, an unpleasant sensation. So the rest of my argument would be basically that, you know, all of our pleasure is basically the relief of pain. We have deprivation, want, and even this, oh man, horse flies everywhere, and even this kind of steady state, which is, you know, a kind of tension and aggravation that we become completely acclimated to, that we don't even know exists. I mean, you know, gravity is beating down on us. We got little miseries. And so that's sort of what pleasure is made out of, is that so we get some good news or something good happens and we release all of that stuff like a sneeze. We break all of the, it's almost like that's what a sneeze does. It like for a moment there, it breaks all the neural connections. God damn, they're trying to bite my hand. They don't want me talking on the camera. They know, well, they don't know shit, they're dumb flies. Anyway, so where was I? I don't know, I have no fucking clue. I have to play the video back and see where I was. But yeah, we aren't aware of just exactly how tormented and twisted and tortured we are, how desperate we are in need of comfort and love, however we're going to describe that. And yeah, you get some good news. And, oh yeah, sneeze. Yeah, the sneeze really is an interrupter. It's like for a moment, it breaks you away from your reality. It breaks these tension connections, and for a moment, you are at your real native state of relaxation and peace. You know, and then it all creeps back again. But I think that's why a sneeze is pleasurable, is that it's this release of more than just some saliva. It does reboot for a moment, and then very quickly though, we're back in the gravity. We're back in the real world. The operating system, full of its bugs and viruses and bullshit, reboots very quickly. Whatever the metaphor. But it is all metaphor. It's really hard to do any of this explicitly. So anyway, just in general, I'm kind of disappointed Nick's bailing on it. I don't really see the conflict here. I mean, I think we do have to deal with words like feeling. But whatever. We certainly are just matter, you know, energy, engaged in a moving process. But, you know, I just don't, there's no point, I think, in talking about our matter moving as being the same as the matter moving through that rotten log, or the matter moving through these rocks, or the energy moving through even these plants. They're not experiencing plant. And we are experiencing, because of this projection device, because we have this limbic system here, and whatever you call those things. Oh, damn it! Those things in the middle of your brain, little funky looking things. But anyway, yeah, they're the things driving all this consciousness shit. It definitely goes through there. That's definitely either the screen or the projector. because you can see how if you degrade it a little bit, you end up with, you know, all kinds of fun. So anyway, they're roofing the house. Yeah, I was gonna do some of that, but it didn't work out. So anyway, I get to watch other people work. Yay.